Also, most of these people, even the cash buyers know that they can go borrow against these homes. So when you're talking about 4 million, 5 million, 6 million, or 30 million, most of these people are like, dude, you can pay by the month. I don't know why you complain about the price. I don't even know why we talk about price that much. If you want to pay for it by the month, which is what most people do, the bank will give you a loan. So let's get off of you complaining. Hey, I agree with you, it's overpriced. By the way, I'm agreeing while I undo his argument.
Right.
Glenn, I know it's overpriced. I'm with you, it's overpriced. I wish we could go back to the 1900s. You know what I'm saying? If we could just go back to the 1800s, there wasn't even a house here. You could have bought this for $1 for the entire neighborhood was $1. But we can't go back there. So if you want to pay on a monthly basis, you put 20% down. It's going to cost you about, $6,000 a month rather than $4 million. I don't want to do that. I want to pay cash. Then let's go pay cash and get it done.
Hey ladies and gentlemen, real quick, if this is your first time to the channel, I want to welcome you to the community. And if you're a real estate agent looking to double your business, well, this is the channel that helps you do that. So go ahead and subscribe right now and tap the bell for notifications so that you can be the first to learn about the latest strategies that are working the best in today's market. We launched a YouTube channel that put 2.8 million under contract within 90 days of being born. And so we focus on that, but we do a little bit of everything. And, we're helping a ton of top brokers, team leaders, and other agents partner with us at eXp, and we're having an absolute blast doing it. So listen, I'm an open book. So if you want to get a hold of me, shoot me a text, send me an email, or schedule a call below, and we're happy to see if it's a good fit for you. But without further ado, let's get back to Glenn and Grant.
Hey everyone, Glenn Sanford here, and again here with our good friend Grant Cardone, who I think I'm going to actually see in person, not via the screen, in probably less than 8 hours.
100%. We should do something live from Cabo for your audience. Anybody that wants to join us from here, we should push something out today or tomorrow.
Oh yeah, well let's definitely do that. I'm definitely big time game, and was hoping that would be an opportunity for us, since we're going to be in the same physical space. So it'll be a lot of fun. So I know that, obviously a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago Thursday, we did our first conversation around Sell or Be Sold. I know that we've got a lot of people who have now read the book. I've seen a number of comments and questions come through. And today, what we're going to do is really go through a few of those questions. We're going to talk about some of the stuff that's coming up. We've got an event that's going to come up. I think it's May 10th through 14th, and we were just chatting a little bit about that, and that's the Real Estate Challenge, which is actually a real estate industry thing that actually you're doing, and you're bringing me on as a guest, and this is really to help real estate professionals. So maybe we just chat about that, and then we'll jump into some Q&A.
Jared has got to know that I'm on a call right now. I just got off the phone with him, and he's FaceTiming me. So one thing we found at our company, doing short challenges with both our team, our customers, and our partners, is a phenomenal way to get people really focused. This is a 5-day challenge. It's completely free. We have P in mind for. Obviously, Elena's involved. She's already building her team out. And I'm like, hey, let's get your team on a challenge. Let's open it up to all the eXp, and between me and you, open it up to all real estate people all over the world. Those that are happy, those that are happy, those that are looking maybe for other opportunities. Might be a recruiting opportunity for everybody here, but most importantly, it's an opportunity to help real estate agents around the world step up their professionalism and handle some of the challenges that are going on with the marketplace, because it's really hot in a lot of places. People are having trouble with inventory issues, bringing a buyer and a seller together. We'll be doing a challenge on, okay, here's some tools on how to bring these people together, because the seller's obviously ridiculous. The buyer hadn't quite caught up with the market. And so we'll be talking about That, and I'm gonna bring yourself and 4 other superstar. I mean, these are the best of the best in real estate worldwide, and so it should be a really good thing. It's grantcardone.com/challenge is the link. grantcardone.com/challenge. It's 1 hour a day for 5 days in a row, and we use that time to condense and give people challenges. We're going to give you a challenge to get a listing, get a deal done, to grow your team. Like, it'll be some very measurable things that you can do over a short period of time that get you that big jolt or spike that we talk about.
Awesome. Yeah. And massive action, just creates massive action. So I just truly appreciate the fact that you've created this opportunity. So many people follow you and the 10X mindset and methodology that you've developed over the years. And so there's gonna be a lot of people that are impacted in a really positive way around this challenge. And obviously, by exposing more agents to it, we're just helping the industry at large. So, everybody who's an eXp agent, encourage people to register, go on there. Obviously, indirectly, there'll be a very soft sell around the eXp value proposition, but that will, again, create more opportunities to take those people who are now exposed to some of the folks that are with eXp. Obviously Elena is now with eXp. We got, I think Tarek's going to be there who's, does the show Flip for Flop. Obviously I'll be there, and there'll be a couple other people that are there that aren't affiliated with eXp that are, highly influential. I think I think Ryan Serhant may in fact be on that challenge. So just a lot of great talent so far, and I know you got some mystery talent that you've got sort of the background there. So
yeah, and Glenn, I just want to say this: it's because of my involvement with you and your commitment to improving the industry as a whole, whether it does anything for you. I love that mission driven person that you are. You're not just a predator, and so like that really mixes with my vibe. Like, just give people service. Okay, if the other companies are doing it, they're doing it, and that's great. Then there's more of it. If they're not doing it, that'll be obvious. And I just think your vision with being a missionary and wanting to support, help, aid, and believing in prosperity for everyone, not just some, it's a noble mission. So I want to be part of it.
Oh, no, thank you. And of course, relative to the bookseller be sold, and even just in general, I mean, one of the things that I think I took from reading the book and obviously getting to know you is that people who lean in and help people do better than those who are scarcity mindset, that are not about sharing and helping other people level up. And I see this all the time where people will try to keep their secret sauce to themselves, and guess what? They will keep their secret sauce to themselves, yes. and they won't get the growth that could come from actually sharing and being, as your term that you used, missionary, is such a great way to grow your brand, to grow your business, and to ultimately be able to provide the financial and personal rewards to yourself and your family by taking that position.
100%.
So what questions here? We've got a few questions in here. Some of them are with regard to some of the things that we'll be doing in the future, and I'm going to skip over those, and we'll touch on those. Maybe we'll touch on some of those maybe during some of the live videos that we do from Cabo. But in the current market, one of the top ones is relative to negotiating techniques for the current market. And obviously, right now we are in the most extreme seller market that has probably existed in our lifetime, where there's literally no inventory, and the inventory, at least from a housing stock perspective, for single family homes, we're talking about weeks of inventory, whereas a balanced market is considered to be something like 6 months of inventory. Right now, we're in some parts of the country less than 1 month of inventory, and in some cases less than even 2 weeks of inventory. So when you think about whether you're working with a buyer or a seller, and of course we've got two different personas there, but are there some things that you think about in our current market that would be something to think about from an agent perspective?
Yeah, so one is like, you have to, the thing that will get in your way is if you're looking in the rear view mirror. Rear view mirrors are this big and the windshield is that big. And the people that are coming into the marketplace, in New York marketplace, in Miami, for instance, people are coming from New York, they're like, hey, these prices are cheap. Now they're up maybe 40% for people that lived in Miami. They're still 40% less than where these people are coming from. So you have to, like, you can't think with a rear view mirror mentality. You have to think with a windshield mentality. So you're going to have, let's say we have a buyer that they're going to go on Zillow, they're going to go on realty.com or wherever they're going to get their information. And they're going to be like, this house didn't sell. It's in Golden Beach, or it's in Houston, or it's in Cabo. We're in Cabo. There's no inventory in Cabo. This is happening worldwide, by the way. This is not a local problem. It happened after 9/11 and it's happening now. When people get terrified, like they did because of COVID and because of 9/11, what I believe they do is they start making emotional purchases that have nothing to do with money. It has nothing to do with common sense, practical logic, nothing. People are buying emotionally. They're trading pieces of cash that they're worried about. Like money's being destroyed. So the real estate agent that is not bringing that into the conversation today, okay, like if you don't understand economics, how are you going to get the big money for a house? And if you can't get the big money for a house right now, the seller's not going to let it go because he's hearing what's going on. For example, 1 out of every $5 that exists in America today did not exist a year ago. So 21% of all US dollars did not exist. You could say then that there's been a 20% destruction of the value of the dollar. The buyer knows that's true, okay? And also, your house is overpriced. It was priced 2 years ago at $9 million, didn't sell, and now they want 11. It didn't sell. It's been on the market for 465 days. The buyer's looking at it saying, this house is overpriced. Yes, it is, sir. It is overpriced. And if I could turn back time, if I could go back a year and a half ago and you could buy it then, man, you'd be in a great position today. But I can't do that. Also, let me just say this. Your dollar is being destroyed. It's worth 20 to 30 or 40% less than it was yesterday. And Mr. Biden is going to print $2 trillion, and that's going to depress that dollar again, maybe another 20%. The best place for your money to be is in a real asset, a great house. Where are you moving from? New York. That'll save you 13% in state taxes. Like, you have to figure out real estate agents that want to become professionals. And we talked about the amateur and the professional last time. You can't just show a house. I can go online and get a 3D version of a house today without anybody being involved. I can take measurements on the wall. We're doing this with a house right now. I have 3D versions. I can measure out how big the wall is, what kind of size door would I have to put in there. So you got to take your game to another level now and start talking economics with these people, because nothing makes sense right now, especially not buying the house. Because right. you don't win, they don't win, and they're going to go spend their money on something. Rolls Royce right now is up. I think they're having the best year they've ever had in 127 years. So you got to ask yourself, do you want your buyer to overpay for a house, which they are going to overpay if they want to buy the house right now? Do you want them to overpay for a house, or do you want them to overpay for a Rolls Royce, which you're not going to get a commission on? You got to really get your head right now.
Right. Well, and I think you brought up something, again, that you talked about in the book, and there was a question also in the group of questions, which is, you mentioned you must say yes and be in agreement with your prospect. And the follow-on question to that was, how important is it to get the micro agreements during the listing appointment? So that's the basic question. But I think one of your things is agree. Like, don't get in an argument, agree, and then go with that.
And quit overqualifying your seller's intention or the buyer's intention. Like, you got to get people, you got to get them in the deal, right? You got to get them, like, I got to get them to move to the next step. I don't need to get them to go. Mm-hmm. If it's a seller, I'm not a seller right now. Okay, well, don't say no, say maybe. I got a no and I got a yes. In between there, you got maybes. You got a lot of, nah, maybe I would be. He's already considered it, by the way. Every seller has considered selling.
Right.
If they're trying to buy, they've already walked through a lot of mental buying decisions beforehand. Oh, am I too late? I'm a buyer. Am I too late? I should have got here sooner, whatever, right? And then they're going to do this. Money's being destroyed. Everybody knows this.
Right.
All you need is a 5th grade education right now to know something different's happening. So if I'm going to a seller and he's like, I'm not a seller, don't say no, say maybe. Everything's for sale at some point. Oh, yeah, well, that's true. Now I got him off a no and on to maybe, right, in between. So look, if I brought you if I brought you $3 million over the market, yeah, I would be a concern. Now, don't now ask him, are you going to change the price on me again then? He might.
Right.
Once you get the yes, stay in agreement with him. Get him to start thinking about getting too much money for his house. You got to get him mentally to think about leaving. Now what I got to do, I've only done half the equation. Let's say I get the listing. And let's say this guy's an unreasonable seller and you can't get there. You got to keep yesing him until he finally becomes flexible, movable, enough, mendable enough so that he can be like, you know what, I'm not going to get the 5 million over, but I'm getting 2 million over. Let's roll. So you're going to have the same problem with the buyer on the other side. Like the real estate agent today, there's no inventory. Quit telling people there's no inventory. There's plenty of inventory.
Right.
I can get you the house, okay? I can get you the house. Tell me exactly what you want. I will find you exactly what you want. I am the best agent in the marketplace for this. I can unloosen a deal, but how about your financials? Let me see that. Let me go to somebody and tell them how ready you are. When do you need to be in? Exactly what you're looking for. Let's get the right thing and I'll go find it for you. And so whether you're talking to the seller, you're talking to the buyer, it's got to be, yes, I'll do it. I can handle it. Even if you don't think you can. You got to pretend that you can, because that's the only way the future is going to happen. Right. You're not lying to people. When Jeff Bezos says he wants to go to Mars and Elon wants to go to Mars, they don't know how to get there.
Right.
So you don't know how you're going to grab that listing, and you don't know how you're going to bring the buyer and the seller together, but you got to keep saying you will and that you can all the way along.
Right, and there's magic to the commitment side, right? That's the other piece, is that once you commit, which is you talk about that quite a bit, is once you commit, all of a sudden possibilities will show up on how to solve that for the buyer or solve it for the seller.
Yes. And look, if they're in doubt, you can't be. Right. Just think about that. You got a seller in doubt and you got a buyer in doubt. They don't know what they're doing. This guy sells a house. I don't care if he runs a big company. He sells a house once every 7 or 8 years. You're supposed to be doing this every day. Then you got a buyer that might only buy 3 homes in their lifetime, maybe 1 home in their entire lifetime. You got 2 people that are uncertain about what they're doing. You, the real estate agent, has to have maximum amounts of certainty the entire time. On the phone, in front of the client, in the emails, in the texts. Like, you do not have the leisure to be negative. You cannot have a bad day. Sorry, you cannot be distracted by your children. Like, when I'm trying to buy a $3 million house or a $30 million house, I need you to be the most positive, most certain person that I've ever met.
Right. Yeah. And that comes, to some extent, that comes from setting expectations up front with your buyer or your seller. I mean, if you don't set your expectations and you don't tell them what's coming next, then they're going to get surprised, even if you know what's coming next. So setting expectations, say, hey, we're going to go look at some homes today. You may see what you're looking for, but right now, if you've never been here before, you're going to have to actually digest the inventory, digest the market before you can get comfortable. I want you to understand that, because once you understand that, we can actually get through that uncomfortable dip in emotionally, so we can actually go find you the home that actually works for you. So setting that expectation up front and just letting them know that everything they're going to go through emotionally, mentally and emotionally, is normal. And as a result, once they go through whatever that emotional roller coaster is, and it always is an emotional roller coaster, they go, I was told about that up front. You told me that was going to happen. Now I'm going through it. Obviously, you know what you're doing. Let's continue on with this process.
Yeah, exactly. And so the marketplace is like when it's this hot and there's no inventory, like you're saying, some markets have 2 weeks. Like I've never seen this in my lifetime.
Right.
And the only thing that's going to loosen that up is money.
Mm-hmm.
So you got Bitcoin money out there. I ran into a guy the other day. Supposedly he's got $50 million in Bitcoin. Like it's probably $49 million of it is all profit for him. So
Yep.
what's he want to do? He wants to buy hard assets. You got people, hedge fund guys that are just slopping money around like it's Skittles. So we have to, the little guys have to change their mind. They're selling a great asset. I get to live in it, enjoy it. I'm in a beautiful home here in Cabo, man. I'm like, I don't want to build this. Somebody else built it. I get to just use it. It's amazing. So,
Mm-hmm.
You got to really, you can't, again, this goes back to, you cannot think about what the prices were in Cabo, Houston, or Miami, or Seattle 2 years ago, because it's gone. It's over.
Right. Yeah. The market is to some extent what the seller says the market is today, because they're not motivated to reduce their price. If they want $3.5 million for their home and you want their home, you're going to have to pay $3.5 million, or you're going to actually have to pay more because there might be multiple bidders, and you're going to have to add an escalation clause or just simply say, I'm going to pay $4, and that might not even get it. So you have to determine as a buyer, how important is it to you? And of course, as the agent, you want to get them to let you know how important is it that they get into a home, and the buyer has to commit that that what's most important to them is getting into a home in the neighborhood, city, with certain amenities, but they're going to have to pay up for it. And if the property doesn't exist, and we just went through this, Debbie and I were looking for a property on this in this area called Chuckanut. So and we couldn't find a property. We've been looking for 6 months. So one of our agents, Mindy Price, who you may have met, she went to 10X, but she mailed tons of people on Chuckanut, and guess what? There were people who were willing to sell where their property was on the market, but they wanted to actually talk to an actual buyer rather than listing it on the market. And so as a result, we ended up getting a property right where we wanted it. It's going to be we're going to have to do a tear down and rebuild, which is great because we'll build the house that we want. But going through that process just shows that there's a bunch of inventory, hidden inventory, that you can find if you represent a buyer. Yeah, and I think that's a great point. There is no shortage of houses in America. Right. The positive person's got to go find it and loosen it up from the marketplace. Also, most of these people, even the cash buyers know that they can go borrow against these homes. So when you're talking about 4 million, 5 million, 6 million, or 30 million, most of these people are like, dude, you can pay by the month. I don't know why you complain about the price. I don't even know why we talk about price that much. If you want to pay for it by the month, which is what most people do, the bank will give you a loan. So let's get off of you complaining. Hey, I agree with you, it's overpriced. By the way, I'm agreeing while I undo his argument. Right.
Glenn, I know it's overpriced. I'm with you, it's overpriced. I wish we could go back to the 1900s. You know what I'm saying? If we could just go back to the 1800s, there wasn't even a house here. You could have bought this for $1 for the entire neighborhood was $1, but we can't go back there. So if you want to pay on a monthly basis, you put 20% down. It's going to cost you about $6,000 a month rather than $4 million. I don't want to do that. I want to pay cash. Then let's go pay cash and get it done.
Right. Yeah. And the nice thing is, if you do the financing route, you will often get a second opportunity to negotiate the price, because the appraisal comes in lower than what you just offered the seller. You come in with the appraisal. Maybe the seller takes it. Maybe he doesn't. But there's an opportunity that they're committed to moving too. I mean, they've already started to buy another property. They've already started to get stuff out of their house. If it's $200,000 on a $4 million property, a lot of times they're going to go, let's just do it. Let's get this thing done.
That's right. But again, the more positive the attitude was along the way with the buyer and the seller,
Yeah.
The less sticky you get with everybody. Don't make people wrong. Make them
Mm-hmm.
right. So
Yep.
they can loosen up later, right? So it's like with kids, man. Don't when you lock a kid down into a situation, then they're gonna just they're gonna get fixed into a position. So the way to keep that loose is just always be in agreement. I know it's overpriced. I know you're not getting enough. Whatever. I'm going to tell both sides. I'm going to agree with both sides. I'm not lying to people, by the way. I am agreeing with them because their reality is their reality.
Yep.
I see the sky's blue and somebody else says, actually, it's overcast. Okay, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
You need to be right. Let them be right.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I love that. So there, so in talking a little bit yesterday with Jared and then Courtney and our team here, we talked about a couple other things that we wanted to maybe touch on today, and this I'm not sure if you saw the notes or not, but one of them was around building your brand, and then how to scale, and so that was one of the topics. And obviously, you've built one of the most incredible brands out there, the Grant Cardone brand. What's some basic thoughts around building a brand and then breaking? I think the positioning here was, what do you think about scale and adding people to your team to help you scale that brand?
So on the brand thing, I mean, we could spend 5 days just talking about how to build a brand because so many great tools out there in the marketplace today that did not exist when I was growing up. I mean, when I was growing up, that was the only way to do it, or you had to buy a billboard, which I didn't have the money to buy a billboard, or you had to be on TV or radio, most of which was unaffordable, and only the biggest companies in the world, from General Electric to Coca-Cola, could do it. So when the internet popped, and then social media, the advent of social media, like I made a decision in 2010 that I was going to basically become a celebrity. And the first thing I would tell people, if you want influence in your marketplace, if you want to be overpaid, get more listings, if you want to get the easy business, you have to celebritize your name or your brand, whatever that is to you. Joan, the real estate agent in Jasper, Texas, needs to become a celebrity. And I know a lot of us, the way we're brought up, we're like, I don't want all this attention. I don't want to be famous. If you want your business to do great, if you want an unfair share of the marketplace, if you want the easy business, you should make a decision right now to celebritize your name. Celebrity basically doesn't mean that you're a TV personality or a Kardashian. It doesn't mean you're an idiot either. It means the marketplace knows you as you have followers, you have influence in a space. Okay, you have become the influencer or the leader in that area. When I think about that, the mattress in every city in America, there's a mattress guy. They all make a lot of money, by the way. They overspend on TV. The pillow guy on My Pillow. He basically celebritized his face and his product. And so I would tell people, man, I would borrow money today. If I knew what I knew 10 or 12 today, what I didn't know 12 years ago, I would have spent all my time, all my energy, and I would have borrowed money to build my brand.
Right.
I've been playing this game for 35 years. I did not understand the value of trading money to become the leader in a space, whatever that means, that I'm a leader in a space. So but you can do it today with Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, TikTok. I got people that meet me on Snapchat. We use Snapchat. You've probably never been on it, Glenn, but we use it. But we use it, and even my staff said, your buyer's not on Snapchat. I'm like, okay, well, we actually have people that got to know me because of Snapchat. I had a lady bring $5 million to our fund yesterday. She's in network marketing. She wrote me a check for $5 million to be invested in Cardone Capital. I asked her last night, I said, how did you meet me? You did this video on YouTube, Grant. You were in a white Rolls Royce talking about how it was the most ridiculous purchase of your life. That it was stupid, it was ridiculous, and people shouldn't do it until a certain point. That's how she found out about me. That video cost me nothing. It was one take. It was one take. I had a video guy capture it, post it. Had nothing to do with my business, by the way. It was just my opinion. And that video was done 7 years ago, Glenn. Okay? That was her first introduction to me. And so, I know I'm not getting to the scaling thing, but I would say this to you. YouTube has already scaled. Facebook has scaled. These are billion. Facebook has 2 billion accounts. Okay, right. Google, I don't know what these mechanisms have already scaled for you. So what I'm not really trying to figure the scaling thing out. I had to make a commitment to the celebrity and find vehicles like eXp, by the way. eXp is a scaled out machine. Rather than me being a guy on my own by myself, I want to drop on a name. And so make the decision to become the celebrity. Anybody can be a celebrity. You can be ugly, you can be old, you can be short, you can be tall. I can show you every one of those examples, black, white, agnostic, Christian, whatever you want to be, and you can still be a celebrity. And I can show you an example of every one of those people. And when you get there, it doesn't mean you're famous. It means people know you in your space for what you do.
Right.
And they come to you. They want you to write articles. They come to you when something happens, and they're like, can we interview you on this? So I wrote about this in If You're Not First, You're Last. You have to become first in the buyer's mind.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. No. Absolutely. And the speaking of brand building, I'm kind of jumping a little bit all over the place, but obviously we won't talk specific numbers. I know some people are still watching the show Undercover Billionaire, but I've been watch the whole Discovery series, and I've been actually messaging a little bit back and forth with Matt Smith and watching some of the Wake Up Pueblo stuff. Those guys are knocking it out of the park building both the Wake Up Pueblo brand and the clients that you initially helped them land. And I'm guessing they're landing a whole bunch more on their own.
Yeah. So that's an interesting, like I went there. I didn't go there and look to start my own business. What did I do? I went there and looked for a business that was already in the marketplace, a guy that already had credibility, that had credit, that had money. I found a guy that's already in the game. And that's why I love eXp so much, is because you guys are 6 or 7 years ago. I said, why, dude? It's an easier deal to get involved in today than it was then.
Right.
Oh, yeah, but you missed. I said, missed what? I missed all the hard work, pal. Like, I don't need to be the first. I don't need to be on the first plane that flies. I want to get all that worked out, and then I can get on a plane, and it's safe.
No, for sure. And the idea of as a real estate agent, if you're getting in the business, build your trusted network. You worked with somebody who already had credibility in the marketplace when you had to use a name that wasn't yours and nobody knew who you were.
Yeah.
So part of building a brand is also aligning yourself with people who already have credibility to give you an instant in with various buyers and sellers. So building, there's the social building of the brand, but then there's also the relationship building of your brand.
Yeah, and it's so for all of you that don't know what Glenn's talking about, is I did this show called Undercover Billionaire. I get dropped off in Pueblo, Colorado with $100. I can't use my name. The thing I've been telling you for the last 10 minutes about become a celebrity, like I had that taken away from me. People were like, how can you go there with only $100? That wasn't the problem. Going there without my name was the biggest challenge. Like I'd spent the last 12 years becoming someone. And now I couldn't tell anyone who I was. That was the hardest part of that deal. So when I got there, I had to figure out, how do I get people talking about me? Because unlike everybody at eXp, everybody watching this right now, you can go on Instagram, Facebook, and Snapchat, and LinkedIn, and Google, and YouTube. I couldn't, because if I went on, I'd be found out. My voice would be discovered. So I literally, for 90 days, could not use the mechanisms that I had perfected. So I had to do what? Okay, I got to get a guy in town or a gal in town. I got to get Pueblo business people talking about this guy, Lewis Curtis. And that's what I did. Well, how can you get people talking about you? Do something for them. Do something for them that they'll say, this guy, you'll never believe what happened this weekend.
Right.
When they're talking about at their barbecue, they got it. Everybody has to figure out how to get your clients to talk about your product, your service, or your personality. You got to figure out how to get them to talk about you at the barbecue. When they go home or when they're doing something on the weekend, they need to spread your name. And that's it's called word of mouth, right? It's like the best advertising in the world is word of mouth, but you have to control it. And you cannot wait. You said something earlier about massive action. You cannot wait 30 years for word of mouth. By the time you get the benefits of word of mouth, if you're going to just slow play this, you're going to be too old to benefit from it.
Yeah, you'll be irrelevant before you even get started.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things fortunately when I got into the business, I was 35. I'd seen a few things up until that point in the business where I knew how I started the business would be part of my legacy in the business. And of course, you can always reboot your business. So not to say how you start ultimately results in where you end up. But at some point, you have to take massive action, and you have to be committed to that pretty much for your career. I mean, why, coasting, to some extent doesn't really work. It hasn't worked for me yet. I've tried it a couple times and it sucks. So I've always figured out that, part of this whole game is to always be doing something more interesting, more meaningful. It keeps you mentally in the game, but also, creates more opportunities for others around you as well. So
do big things. I mean, it actually takes less energy. So that's what I love about what you're doing. It's so big. What you're doing is so big, and it's going to help so many people. And I'm hearing the word everywhere. Like I never heard eXp 4 years ago. I can't bring up real estate. I bring it up in Cabo. Hey man, what's this new thing in America with a eXp? I've been here 2 days.
Well, actually, I think on Monday night there's a Mexico launch event there in Cabo. So we just launched, and I think we have 400 or 500 agents that have joined the last 60 days in Mexico, and wow. So it's pretty cool. Anyway, it's a lot of, like, Mexico's blowing up, India's blowing up, like a lot of countries are blowing up with eXp, not just the U.S. And I think just since the beginning of the year, we're now probably close to 11,000 net new agents in eXp, which is just a crazy number. Pretty surreal. I wasn't expecting this type of success at this point but at the same time, we're just leaning in and keeping it going. So we got we'll kind of wrap up here, and I know we'll spend a little time chatting in Cabo, and we'll capture some of that and get that over into Workplace and in the eXp ecosystem. But is there just to ask about one other item that was on here? The importance of follow. Know the answer to this, but how when you think about follow up, what goes through your mind in terms of the amount, how often, just the importance in it as a general rule. But what's your thoughts around follow up?
So look, it's the holy grail of sales. Like, if you don't want to be a pressure salesperson, then you got to figure out how to follow up people. You don't want to get great at negotiating, you have to figure out how to follow up. If you don't want to put somebody in a situation where it's yes or no right now, like that, like get a deal done, better follow up, because you're going to have to. I think less than 2% of all sales transactions are consummated on the first contact. That means 98% of all sales made worldwide, somebody had to follow up, whether it's the customer following you up or you're following the customer up. And so my experience with real estate agents, and I have been very, very hard and very public about any business, by the way. Sears. I remember going to Sears. I'm like, this business will fail. I walk in, nobody says hello to me, and nobody follows me up when I left. I mean, you don't even know I was there.
Right.
So, Amazon knows every time I go to their store. So, and they're willing to follow me up. So the advent of the internet, by the way, and technology and software makes follow-up. There's no reason not to follow people up now.
Yeah.
And there's so many different ways to follow up. I can still follow up with a phone call. I can still do an email. You sent me about a case of wine the other day. Thank you so much, by the way. We haven't opened anything up yet, but that was beautiful. That's follow up. But it doesn't always have to just be a gift. It could be, hey, I was in the neighborhood. I'm in the neighborhood. Could I come by and say hi? Like literally, yeah, man, come on by. It doesn't have to be about a house.
Right.
You know, and you don't always have to buy something. So, and it doesn't always have to be about I got a listing or something for you to show. I was just thinking about you. I saw you in the paper. Like you should put Google. You should have search on your Google for all your clients. So we just closed a deal in Fort Lauderdale. If you showed me a house 3 weeks ago, it would pop up Grant Cardone. That real estate agent could call me and say, "Hey, congratulations on your Bass closing." Like, but I'm going to go back to what the problem with that. Nobody's going to do that until they commit to that.
Right.
You're not going to become a celebrity until you commit to becoming a celebrity. You're not going to become a top agent until you commit. I'm going to be a top agent, not a middle agent. Like I'm not going to just, make another 20 grand a year for our family. I mean, that's good. Maybe that is your commitment, but you're never going to do the follow up for 20 grand because you don't really need it. For 20 grand, all you got to do is sell, 5 or 6 or 7 homes a year.
Yeah, no, for sure. If that.
For you to do these other things, for you to build a CRM, follow up, come up with creative ideas to follow people up. Think about, hey, I'm going to call you because I'm next to your office. Put a Google search. Anytime anything comes up about Glenn Sanford, I'm going to say, congratulations, Glenn. To do those things requires commitment.
Right.
And it probably requires a team as well. If you want things to get easier, at some point you will have to scale to a team. And to scale to a team means you need to sell more homes so you have more money so that you can scale.
Yeah, no, for sure. And one thought that came to mind just when we were talking about top producer, and it's something I've done from time to time, is I'll make that statement, I am a top producer, but then I also list the reasons why I'm a top producer. Because, why are you a top producer? Because I follow up, because I build my database every day, so those because phrases, a lot of times becomes obvious what you need to do next, because you'll sit there and go, well, I don't know why I'm a top producer. I've just made the statement. So why are you? Start to figure out why top producers are top producers. Start to model your business around those whys, and you will be a top producer.
100%. Like if you do what top producers do, if you do it, it doesn't matter what your personality is or what you look like or what you said. If you do what they do, you will get this. I totally believe if you give me the recipe and I go in my kitchen and make it exactly the way you made it, and I have no deviations of that, I'm going to get the same cookie you got.
Yeah, for sure. Well, awesome. Well, Grant, hey, thanks so much. We're gonna start getting ready to fly down to Cabo. So looking forward to. What's that?
Bring your sombrero.
Well, we'll bring something. I'll have to get my sombrero when I get down there. I don't have one to bring down with me, but.
That's all right. So I don't have one either.
Awesome.
I can't wait to see you down here.
Okay, good stuff. Thanks, Grant. Chat soon. Bye.
Thanks.
Grant. Chat soon. Bye.